What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be breaking down UFC 300 from the first fight on the prelims till the main event. Finally here, UFC 300 time. Looking like a real good card. Saying somebody recently, I remember it wasn't too long ago, we were at UFC 200. You know what I mean? And yeah, we had fucking DC Jones fall apart. Anderson stepped in to fight DC. Gegard Mousasi and the boys, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but it kind of does, if you know what I'm saying. Looking at the poster, fucking what the fuck. Probably one of the ugliest UFC posters we've seen in a while. And will be interesting to see do they make the canvas yellow or gold like they did last time, Classic UFC, they think the three letters are bigger than any of the fighters. So they want to be like, oh, it's UFC 300, but like, what about the fighters, Dana? Put them on the poster. I remember UFC 200, they had like every fighter on the main event on the poster, you know what I mean? So, it is what it is. So let's jump into the first fight. We got Davison Figueiredo against Cody Garbrandt. Two former champions, opening up the prelims. That's a precursor of what the rest of the card's gonna be like. Very, very stacked. I see a lot of people like Cody this week as an underdog, but I don't see it. Don't get me wrong. Cody's fast, real nice hooks, very good for that first round. But I think Figgy is he's the same. He's powerful. He's got good jits, good wrestling. He's got that touch of death even down to flyweight. He's moving up to bantamweight now, so let's see. Does he still have that power? It's like remember when Conor was knocking everybody out of featherweight, and then he moves up to lightweight, and it's a lot harder to knock boys out up a weight class. So be interesting to see how Figgy does against all the bantamweights. But I don't know. You look at the guys who's finished: Cody, Kai France, Pedro Munoz, TJ twice. I could see, I could see Cody having a bit of success in the first round. He's fast, he's moving around. It'll be interesting to see, does Cody wrestle? That's one wrinkle we've seen out of his game lately. He's been wrestling a lot more. But yeah, I think you gotta go Figgy here. Probably finish, probably inside the distance. Could be knockout, could be submission. But yeah, Figgy moneyline, probably your safest bet. Next up, we got Bobby Green against Jim Miller. The people's main event. A10, Jim Miller. Let's go. Against our boy Bobby Green. Two vets. Two gritty veterans. I think, pretty sure Jim Miller has a record for most submissions in UFC history and most wins in UFC history. So, nice to see him getting his flowers here at UFC 300. I know we've been calling for it for a good bit. You got Bobby Green as well, another crafty veteran, been around forever. Nice to see him get his bit of shine on UFC 300. But just looking at this fight objectively, I see Jim Miller is a slight underdog, which I get. He is how old is he? 40. Jim's 40 now, so he's been around forever. He's on a little 2-fight win streak against Jesse Butler and Gabriel Benitez. Finished both of them. Bobby's coming off a real bad knockout 4 months ago over Jalen Turner. You know what I mean? Came in short notice. Got dropped in like the first fucking 2 minutes, and the ref was very slow getting in there to stop it. He took a lot of shots. So I would have thought everybody would have had a bit of recency bias on old Bobby Green, but he is the favorite. I can't see him winning this way though. Like I feel like his style does match up nice with Jim Miller. I could see Bobby slowing down the pace, having a nice little kickboxing fight for 3 rounds. Stuffing takedowns. My heart says Jim, my head says Bobby, so I'm gonna go with my head. I'm gonna go Bobby by decision, but I'll be rooting for Jim Miller, man. I'd love if Jim Miller got that W. Honestly, nothing would make me happier. And he retires, he gets the W, retires at UFC 300 after fighting on 100 and 200. That's legendary shit with all the records too. I'd fucking love that. Next up, we have Jessica Andrade against Marina Rodriguez. I like this women's fight. You know, we don't always say that on this channel, but we like this women's fight. Jessica Andrade, been around forever. This is something that kind of blew me away. I was looking at the stats earlier. What the fuck? I was looking at the stats earlier, and I was like, man, Jessica Andrade must be getting up there now. Like, she's fucking been around forever. 25-12, fought in 3 different weight classes. She's 32. She's fucking 32, you know what I mean? Like 16-10 in the UFC, you know, 25. Like, she must be up there for like most female fights in the UFC now at this point. Like, and she's a finisher too, you know what I mean? Like, you don't see a lot of women that finish regularly like fucking Jessica Andrade does. 1 second. Yeah, she got in the UFC 2013. You know, when you look at her too, like her second last fight on the regional scene, she went up against Jennifer Maia, who's a perennial top 5 strawweight, you know. And you look at her, she's only fought, you know, Raquel Pennington, who's the current featherweight UFC champion. She beat her. You know, like, she's fought everybody, you know. She slammed Rose to get the belt, you know. She's fought for the belt a few times against other people. Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, but then you got Marina Rodriguez, who I think is a serious dark horse at strawweight. First time she really opened my eyes was that Amanda Hebas fight. Damn, that was when I was like, Amanda Hebas legit. Because Rodriguez went to a split decision with Carla Esparza, pieced her up on the feet. The only bit of trouble she had was when Carla took her down. So I was like, Amanda Hebas definitely is not as good a wrestler as Carla Esparza. Then Amanda Hebas starts piecing her up, mixing in the takedowns, ends up stopping her, you know, in the second round. Oh no, she stopped Amanda Hebas. Fucking, I had that completely the other way around. I was really high on Amanda Hebas coming into that fight because she was streaking. And Marina Rodriguez was coming off a split decision loss to Carla Esparza, so I was like, Hebas will be able to take her down, no worries. Yeah, like, she was coming off a 5-fight win streak into that Marina Rodriguez fight. You look at it now, and it's like not the best competition. It's like Paige Van Zandt, Randa Marcos, Mackenzie Dern, Emily Whitmire, these kind of people. But yeah, no, I've been a Marina Rodriguez fan ever since. I'm going Marina Rodriguez here against Jessica Andrade. I like Marina Rodriguez to win by decision. I don't see her finishing Andrade. Andrade's very, very tough veteran, hard woman to get out of there, you know. So we're going Marina Rodriguez by decision. I'll just let this load up. I'm actually re-recording this video. I recorded the fucking video last night, and I'm not gonna lie, I went to watch it back this morning. I forgot to fucking plug in the microphone was plugged in, but I hadn't synced it up to the fucking software, so I had no real audio. It was fucked. What the fuck, lads? Fuck, here we go. Back on track. Don't stress, boys. It's a fucking cloudy day today. Alright, next up we got Jalen Turner against Renato Moicano. Really love this fight. I'll see a lot of people on Jalen Turner this week saying he's going to absolutely smoke Money Moicano, but I don't know. 77% of people on old Jalen this week. He is massive though. He's 6'3", you know, lightweight, which is kind of unheard of. Definitely the biggest lightweight out there. Against Moicano, who is 5'11", you know. Only a 2.5 inch reach difference. Or 3.5 inch reach difference. But yeah, no. I don't know how you could pick against Jalen Turner here. Moicano's looked good in his last couple. Picked up a nice win over Drew Dober in his last one. Was able to out-wrestle him. But Jalen Turner has just been... He looks like he's making massive jumps and improvements every time we see him out. You know, that Bobby Green fight, I was thinking that one was going to go a bit longer than it did, but Jalen just came out there, smoked him, you know, never let him off the hook, got him hurt, put him away. We have seen if Jalen can't get you out of there in the first round and a half, though, he does kind of slow down a bit, you know. So keep an eye on that. Maybe Moicano might be a live bet situation, if he doesn't get finished in the first round and a half. But this is one thing I didn't know. This is one thing I didn't realize. What the fuck? I don't know what is up with my internet right now, guys. Anyway, Moicano has never won a fight by decision. Or by knockout. So he's all submissions and all decisions, which I would have assumed he'd have one knockout, even like a TKO on the ground or something. But nah. So after seeing that, no knockout Moicano, I'm riding with Jalen. Don't get me wrong, I could see Moicano take him down, get on the back or something like that in the end of the second or third, but it's a lot of what ifs. But I'll be rooting for Moicano. I hope he gets the W. And that brings us to Diego Lopez versus Sadiq Youssef. Very fun matchup. We got Sadiq Youssef, who's on a nice little 3-0 streak right now in the UFC. He's the new hotness. Everybody loves Diego Lopez. I just saw he got put in the UFC game the other day, which is pretty cool. He's also going out with Alexa Grasso, which a lot of people are not happy about. But he's got a tough matchup in Sadiq Youssef. Very good striker, very technical, doesn't waste a lot of energy, or his shot selection is very high level. He doesn't waste a lot of shots. Can be sucked into slow, boring kickboxing fights, but normally it's him setting the pace, and that's what he loves. Keep them on the outside, kick the leg, put the jab on them, and if you can do that here against Diego Lopez, there's no doubt he wins this fight. He's just gotta stop the takedowns, keep it on the feet. But yeah, Diego Lopez has looked nothing but impressive so far. Made his debut against Movsar Evloev. Was losing that fight, but he took the fight on like a week's notice. And then towards the end of the third round, gets Evloev in this knee bar that looked super, super tight. I'm pretty sure if it was anybody else, they probably would have tapped. But them Russian boys are built different. He did not tap, but I'm going Sadiq Youssef here. I'm going Sadiq by decision. If you're betting this fight, maybe the overs are the way to go, but that's not financial advice, as the boys say. Next up, we got Holly Holm versus Kayla Harrison. Another women's fight I like the look of. Holly Holm gets a lot of hate. People say she has boring fights, but I like her. To be honest, I've always liked Holly Holm. I like her style. World-class boxer, world-class kickboxer. And now late career Holly's turned into a bit of a wrestler, which is pretty cool. But she's going up, two-time Olympic judoka, Olympic medalist, former PFL lightweight champion. Pretty sure she won the PFL tournament twice or something. Only has one loss, coming to Larissa Pacheco in a split decision. We've seen a lot of these matchups so far on the card. Like you look at the 4 fights back to back. Sadiq Youssef, Diego Lopez, grappler versus striker. Holly Holm, Kayla Harrison, grappler versus striker. Calvin Kattar, Aljamain Sterling, grappler versus striker. Yuri Prohatska, Alexander Rakic, grappler versus striker. Bo Nickel, Cody Brundage, grappler versus grappler, but Arman Tsarukyan, grappler. A lot of grappler versus striker matchups, So, in this one, you gotta go with the grappler, you know what I mean? Kayla's shown us nothing so far that she can't get people down. And she's been fighting lightweight, so she'll have the size and the strength on Holly here. I could definitely see her muscling Holly up against the fence, getting an underhook, maybe getting a body lock, dragging her down to the canvas, and then either winning a nice decision or probably submitting her. So yeah, I'm going Kayla by decision. 3-rounder. We've never seen her make featherweight before, so let's see what she looks like on a scale before you start putting her in the parlays. She's also a humongous favorite, so absolutely no value on Kayla Harrison at this point in the week. So yeah, just watch this one as a fan, and yeah, hopefully Holly. I'm actually rooting for Holly on this one. I'm picking Kayla, but I'll be rooting for Holly. I'd love if Holly had one more Ronda Rousey moment. She head kick knocks out Kayla, gets one last bit of shine, you know. The UFC put her in another fucking main event at the Apex. Keep that run going. Holly's like 45, headlining the Apex shows against fucking everybody. I'm here for it. Next up, we got Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. Another fun fight. Aljamain finally moving up to featherweight, making his featherweight debut. Former bantamweight champion against Calvin Kattar, perennial top 10 featherweight. Fought the who's who at featherweight. Yeah, happy for Aljo. Love to see boys moving up in weight, not having to cut so much weight. Aljo was a big bantamweight too, absolutely shredded. So yeah, and now that Merab is about to fight for a title, makes perfect sense. So yeah, just like with the Kayla versus Holly fight, grappler versus striker, can Aljo get the takedowns, or can Calvin keep it on the feet and piece him up with the hands? Let's have a quick look at the odds. What are the bookies saying? They got Aljo as a slight favorite, so people think that Aljo will be able to get the takedown. And we've seen him. He only needs one in a lot of these fights. He just needs to be able to get to that back. And once he can get that backpack, he can finish a lot of people with the rear naked. So, but then you look at Calvin Kattar and it's like, who are the best wrestlers he's fought and how has he done? Lads, what the fuck? Here we go. Alright. Boss, New England Cartel, him and Rob Font. The boys, look at that. Ooh, he went from. People don't forget this. He was on Elite XC, that card. Was it Elite XC or was it Affliction? Yeah, he was on one of those like early Elite XC cards. I remember watching one of them. Yeah, Elite XC Primetime. Was that the Kimbo one? Or was it Nick Diaz? Yeah, Kimbo against fucking the Colossus himself. Robbie, Poking, Scott Smith. Man. But yeah, fucking Wilson Hayes was there too. Zach Makovsky, former UFC flyweight. Or bantamweight. But yeah, Calvin Kattar, man. Dude's been around forever, you know? And he's, how old is he? He's 36. Damn. He's on a 2-fight skid. He went to a split decision with Josh Emmett, which speaks to the chin of fucking Calvin Kattar. Decision, Giga Chikadze, you know, former Glory kickboxing champion. Good luck there. Lost a decision to Max Holloway. After that Max Holloway fight, I feel like a lot of people wrote Calvin off. I feel like his confidence is also taking a bit of a dip. Plus, he's coming back from a knee injury against Arnold Allen. If you guys seen that fight, it was a bad knee injury. It was one of those ones where, like, nothing really happened, just something went in his knee, and he knew at that moment he couldn't fight on. He just went down. The ref immediately stopped it. So, be interesting to see what he looks like coming back off that injury. Tough matchup to come back against Aljo. Like, he'd definitely have been doing a lot of wrestling in his training camp in preparation for Aljo. So, hopefully he's not carrying any niggles into this one. But even if he is, fuck it. Aljo, you know, he's like, he fought Sean O'Malley in October, and he hasn't fought in 6 months, 7 months, but he stayed active with these. Excuse me, guys. He stayed active with these grappling competitions. He fought Mike Grundy a month after the Sean fight. The grappled Mike Grundy. Then he lost a decision to Danzler. So basically he had 3 grappling matches in the space of 4 or 5 months. So he's been in the gym, he's been staying fit. I saw on his Insta he was down at Bali MMA for a little bit, training with Brendan Loughnane. So yeah, the guy's been in the gym, I'm sure. And Rob's been in the gym with him for this one. So his wrestling's gonna be on point. Yeah, I do know how you can pick against Aljo here, but I'm not gonna. I'm going Aljo. A lot of people don't like Aljo. I fuck with Aljo hard. You know what I mean? I can see him getting Kattar down. You know, let him think that we're gonna strike for the first couple of minutes. You know, a few kicks. Aljo has real nice kicks. And then as soon as Kattar commits to anything too heavy, take him down, ground and pound, get a nice position, And then hopefully Cater exposes the back and Aljo can backpack him. Then we got the prelim headliner. How wild is it that this is the prelim headliner? I actually don't like that this fight is on UFC 300. Controversial opinion. I would have loved to see this fight somewhere in Eastern Europe. You know, you got Yuri, who's from the Czech Republic. You got Alexander Raktik, who's from Serbia. You know, it makes no sense to have this fight in fucking, where is it again? Las Vegas. Like, obviously, 300, big card. Both the boys happy for the exposure, all that stuff. You know, it's good for both of them. But, you know, like, considering there's like 2 to 3 Apex cards like a month or whatever, like, why not fucking make this a fight night in Croatia or Czech Republic or go to Serbia or whatever, you know, like they used to do before the pandemic. You know, give the fans a fucking the hometown boys, you know what I mean? But saying that, absolutely absurd that this is a fucking headliner on the prelims. This could easily headline any fight night and people would be very happy. Just goes to show how stacked this card is. But yeah, Yuri versus Alexander Raktik. I seen Raktik he's moved to a slight favorite. Yuri was a bigger underdog earlier in the week. I feel like if you got Yuri Monday, Tuesday, early on in the week at a nice dog price, that was the play. That was the play. At even, there's no real value. But if you could get Yuri at a dog price, you know that there's some value there. I flip-flop on this fight every time I think about it. Part of me's another thing. Raktik's coming back off an injury. He done his MCL, and he's been out for 8 months to a year. His last fight was against Jan Blachowicz. Yep, he done a leg injury. That was the 5th, 2022. So he's been out for a year and a half. He has been out nearly 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. So let's see. Does Raktik come back with any ring rust? And same thing with Yuri. I'm pretty sure he hurt himself real bad in the Glover fight. He took a year and a bit off, came back against Alex Pereira and got stopped. So, you know, his ring rust should all be gone if you believe in that kind of thing. Do you know what? I'm going Yuri. I think Yuri's going to be able to stop him. You know, you look at Yuri's his finish rate. He's been to 3 decisions. He's been to 3 decisions. He's won 3 decisions out of 29 wins. So I'm not good at maths or percentages, but it's like a high 90% finish rate for Yuri. So Raktik, on the other hand, he's no stranger to a finish. Absolutely shredded beast of a man. 6-2 in the UFC with 9 knockouts, 1 submission, and 4 decisions. So he's well rounded. He can start. He can finish you on the feet. He can decision you. He can wrestle you. He can take you down. He can knock you out. He can do it all. So yeah, I'm going Yuri inside the distance. You know, he'd been knocking everybody out, but then he tapped Glover in the 5th round with a rear naked with no boots or no hooks in or whatever. So yeah, maybe play it safe. Yuri inside the distance, but love the matchmaking. And love this scrap a lot. That brings us to the main card of UFC 300. Now we're cooking. We got Bo Nickel against Cody Brundage. Very clear to see what the UFC are doing with this matchup here. You know, putting Bo Nickel first fight on the pay-per-view. You know, you could have put anybody there, but they decided to go with Bo Nickel, which shows, you know, they like him. The company likes him. Giving him a nice matchup too against Cody Brundage, who's 10-5. So they obviously, you know, normally they put the most exciting fight as the pay-per-view opener, just to, like, you know, you just bought the pay-per-view. They want to give you your money's worth straight away. You know what I mean? Be like, you know. So hopefully, I feel like they want Bo Nickel to come out here and smoke Cody Brundage in under a couple of minutes. You know. But can he do that? That's the question. I had a look at the odds, and they just keep getting wider and wider. Bo Nickel's now a minus 2,500 favorite, which is absolutely fucking insane. Like, that's one of the biggest favorites probably in UFC history. It's like him and Kayla. Like, Kayla Harrison is a minus 480. You know? And Bo Nickel, who's only 5-0. You know, he's super untested. 2-0 in the UFC. Is he 2-0 in the UFC? I feel like he's got more wins in the UFC. Yeah, 2-0 in the UFC, 2-0 in Dana White's Contender Series. I'll be honest with you guys. Whatever you do, don't fucking put Bo Nickel in any of the parlays. Even if he comes out here and smokes him in a minute, there's no value there. We've seen crazier upsets. I feel like maybe a little $1 sprinkle on Cody Brundage here. You know what I mean? Little $1, $2. I feel like that's the only way you could possibly play this fight. Yeah. Bo Nickel, way too big of a favorite. Nobody deserves to be that big of a favorite in MMA. You know, everybody's got the puncher's chance, but yeah, I don't know how. You look at those odds, you assume Bo Nickel comes out here and runs through Cody Brundage. So that's the pick. We're going Bo Nickel first round finish, and that brings us to my favorite fight of the night. We got Charles Oliveira against Arman Tsarukyan. Man, this is fucking great matchmaking. Absolutely love this matchmaking. It's such good matchmaking that Charles Oliveira is an underdog, which we rarely see. I think the last time I can remember was the Islam fight, and everybody's an underdog against Islam. But yeah, we got our boy Arman Tsarukyan. I'll never forget. I'd never heard of Arman. Obviously, I'd seen him on the Tapology, but right before, like I'd looked into him before the Islam fight. He made his debut on a week's notice against Islam. I was like, I had Islam in all the parlays. I seen Arman's records. You know, it was nothing special. Let's have a quick look. What was it at the time? So he was 12-2. He was a 12-2. Was he Georgian? No. What's that? He's got that Armenia. He was 12-2 Armenian coming in against Khabib's main training partner on short notice. I was like, yeah, fucking Islam will have his way with him. Put him in all the parlays, and he gave Islam to this day one of his hardest fights in the UFC on a week's notice. You know what I mean? It just speaks to how good and how much potential Arman Tsarukyan has. You know. Then after that, he went on a 5-fight win streak. And then he lost a very questionable decision to Gamrot. I watched the fight live. I scored it for Arman. I was salty. I had Arman by decision on a lot of bet slips. But and then since then he's just been on a nice little streak, finishing with a first round knockout of Beneil Dariush, which is a big feather in the cap. I'm pretty sure that's why they give him Charles Oliveira, because Charles Oliveira also finished Beneil Dariush in a round, which, you know, besides Alex Hernandez, nobody else has been able to do. You know what I mean? So I love this matchup. When I think about how this fight plays out, it's hard. You know, I could see it being a back and forth kickboxing fight, or I could see Arman getting takedowns and getting control positions and winning a decision against Charles. But I see everybody's favorite underdog play of the week this week is Charles Oliveira, just because he's so dangerous. But I'm going Arman Tsarukyan. I'm going Arman by decision. You know, I don't think he's going to be able to finish Charles. I think Charles is a crafty enough veteran to be able to, you know, make it to the end of the decision. But I'm going Arman by decision. That brings us to the BMF title on the line between Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway. A lot of people love this fight. I'm not so high on it, purely just because I feel like there was no need for Max Holloway to move up to lightweight to fight this fight. You know what I mean? Like, if he could have stayed at featherweight, he would have been next in line to fight Ilir Topuria. You know, and he's moving up. He's fighting a guy, super durable, heavy hitter, big leg kicks, great cardio. It's just a really, really bad matchup for Max Holloway, I think, you know. I see a lot of people be like, Max has never been dropped, Max has never been finished with strikes or whatever. Neither had Tony Ferguson before the Justin Gaethje fight. Maybe he'd been dropped a couple of times, but he'd never been finished. And yeah, Tony has never been the same ever since that fight, you know what I mean? And he's been finished in so many of his fights since. So yeah, I just got a bit of concern for Max here, but I would love if Max came out there and just, won a nice decision, put the pace on him, outlanded Justin Gaethje, 3-1, 4-1, but Gaethje's striking has been looking really good lately. Like, you can see he's making a lot of improvements with Trevor Whitman. That physique fight comes to mind. He looked way more calculated and composed. Mixed in his wrestling, which we never see him do. Yeah, he looks like he's evolving. He looks like he is evolving. 25-4, super deceiving record. Two of those losses being back when he was super reckless against Gaethje and Eddie Alvarez. And then he's dialed it in since then. He obviously lost to Khabib and he lost to Charles Oliveira. Two losses, both for the belt. So he only fights top 5 guys. He only loses to top 5 guys. And Max Holloway hasn't beaten a top 5 guy at lightweight yet, So, tough matchup for Max Holloway. Tough matchup. I'm going... Call me crazy. Is it 5 rounds? If it's 5 rounds, I think Justin Gaethje might finish him. I hope he doesn't, but I don't know. I always think of that stat about how much damage Max Holloway's taken. Like, he's got the record holder for most significant strikes landed, but he's also got the record for most significant strikes taken. So, eventually the damage does pile up. So, hopefully it's not in this Gaethje fight, but, I could see it. That brings us to the co-main event. We got Weili Zhang against Xiaonan Yan. Xiaonan. I always forget you got to read the Chinese names back to front. Like Zhang Weili. It's not Weili Zhang, it's Zhang Weili. She's going against Yao Xiaonan. Yeah. I think Weili's going to be too much for Xiaonan everywhere here. She's got better wrestling, better kickboxing, better ground. I could see Xiaonan, winning a greasy, close split decision, Rose Namajunas style. But Rose won that fight because she had the wrestling. Xiaonan, she doesn't have the wrestling pedigree in her back pocket to be able to, take Weili down if she gets in trouble. But yeah, I think Weili by finish here. I think she's got a point to prove, Especially, she's been streaking as well lately. Like, having a quick look. Yeah, she stopped Carla Esparza and Joanna, basically retired both of them. And then went to a nice decision with Amanda Lemos, where she looked really great. So yeah, she's just been making loads and loads of improvements every time out. She's kind of edited her style a bit more to the grapple as well, which I think will serve her well in this matchup. Carla Esparza was able to finish Xiaonan. So yeah, you gotta go Weili. Let's quickly have a look at the odds. Yep, Weili heavy favorite. So yeah, maybe put Weili in a parlay here or there, not too heavy. Women's MMA. Anything could happen. I know we always say it, but it's a fact. Anything can fucking happen in women's MMA. So yeah, maybe just watch this one. Maybe leave Weili out the parlays. Maybe fight doesn't go the distance. I'll do a video later on in the week when all the prop lines come out. We'll do our top 5 best bets for the week, so keep an eye out for that. And that brings us to our main event, Alex Pereira against Jamal Hill. So, Jamal Hill coming back off of an injury. I swear all the fucking boys are coming back off injuries on this UFC 300 card. He's rushing back a bit as well. I saw somebody say, when did he sustain that injury? It wasn't in a fight, I'm pretty sure. So his last fight was January 2023 against Glover, winning the belt. And then he was supposed to fight Anthony Smith, which is kind of crazy that he was going to defend the belt against Anthony Smith. But then he got injured, but it wasn't from any training or fighting. I heard him on, I can't remember whose show he was on. I think it was the Mighty Mouse YouTube channel he was talking to Mighty Mouse, but apparently he was playing basketball and he was coming down from dunking and blew out his knee, fucking Tom Segura style, man. So yeah, that put him out for the last year, basically. He's been out for a year, just fucking beefing with Errol Hawani and the boys. So let's see what he looks like coming back here against Alex Pereira. You know, we seen what happened to Yuri coming back off a year off injury, fighting Alex Pereira. He got stopped. But Pereira's looked great so far up at light heavyweight. Still crazy to think that he used to be able to make light heavyweight. You know what I mean? 6'4", walks around 230, ginormous motherfucker. Like, absolutely absurd that he was making middleweight. So yeah, final prediction. A lot of people on. Let's quickly have a look and see what the poll is on Tapology. Everybody's on Pereira, just like I thought. Pereira by knockout. I'm going Jamal Hill here. Like, I've been on Jamal Hill ever since he was on Contenders. You know, I've been saying Jamal Hill, future champ. I picked him in every single one of his fights. You know, I'm trying to think who was the one loss. Paul Craig, wasn't it? Yeah, I was like, he's gonna fucking obliterate Paul Craig. Picked him against Jimmy Crute, picked him against Johnny Walker, picked him against Thiago Santos, picked him against Glover. So I can't pick against him here against Alex Pereira. You know, he's been fucking knocking out a lot of Brazilians too. Knocked out Johnny Walker, knocked out Thiago Santos, went to a decision with Glover. So let's see, can he put another Brazilian on the record? You know, his last fight was against Pereira's boy in Glover. So Pereira's gonna be wanting to avenge that loss for his boy. So I don't know. I got Jamal Hill knockout. I hope Jamal Hill mixes in his wrestling. You know, he'd be very smart to mix in the wrestling. We've seen guys like Adesanya have success against Pereira. We've seen Bruno Silva take him down. We've seen Jan Blachowicz take him down. So hopefully he mixes in the takedowns. But that's it for the video, guys. If you can, please like and subscribe. It really helps out with the algorithm, gets my videos out to more people. We're slowly growing the channel. I'm going to be way more consistent with everything. And yeah. Hopefully everybody enjoys UFC 300 on Sunday. And like I said, I'll try and get the betting picks out before Sunday. But until then, I will see you in the next one, boys. Peace.